The Awakening by Kate Chopin. Kate Chopin is one of the most innovative, subtle, and open-minded of 19th century American writers. She was born under the name of Katherine O'Flaherty to a prosperous Irish-French family in St. Louis, Missouri, on 8 February 1850. After the death of her father in a rail disaster in 1865, she was brought up by her widowed mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. She grew up speaking French and English. She then became a perceptive reader and a gifted pianist. At the vibrant city in which she grew up at the cross-currents of change in the US, is where she developed broad cultural perspectives which were further enriched when she moved to Louisiana after her marriage to Oscar Chopin in 1870. After her husband's sudden death in 1882, Kate was left with 6 children, and she eventually returned to St. Louis, where in the late 1880s she began to publish fiction and poetry. After the completion of 2 novels in 1880s and 1890s, At Fault, 1890, privately printed, and Young Dr. Gussie, which she destroyed, she came to feel that her strength lay in the short story. Drawing largely on her observations of the varied cultural groups of New Orleans and rural Louisiana, her writing began to appear in a range of journals, from Jazz Companion to the newly founded Vogue, to collections in Bayou Folk, 1894, and A Night in Acadie, 1897, which consolidated her reputation. The Awakening is one of her most acclaimed narratives. It was published in 1899, and it caused a sensation, while most readers acknowledged her superb art. There was widespread disgust at her sympathetic treatment of adulterous passion and her radical criticism of 19th century ideals of marriage and motherhood. The book sold well in St. Louis, where she remained a celebrity, but her work gradually sank into years of critical neglect. She died on August 22, 1904, of a brain hemorrhage after a strenuous day at St. Louis World's Fair, where she had been a regular visitor. Chopin set this novel in and around New Orleans, in Louisiana. The novel opens on the vibrant Grand Isle, a favored summer spot for many New Orleans French Creoles, where Edna and Léonce Pontellier, a marriage, and the protagonists of the novel, along with their children, are vacationing in this spot. A Kentucky native with a strict Protestant upbringing, Edna appears enamored by the island's dreamy, luxuriant atmosphere. She undergoes a profound awakening and falls in love with Robert LeBron, who flees to Mexico to avoid the potential scandal. Although the Pontellier family returns to life in New Orleans, Edna has changed irrevocably. Refusing her familial and societal duties, Edna moves out of her husband's home, indulges in her own artistic talents, develops eccentric friendship, and unapologetically yields to the sexual advances of the roguish Elsie Arovin. Yet Edna's deeper desires remain unsatisfied. Disenchanted by her life as a piece of property and distraught at Robert's second abandonment, Edna Pontellier returns to Grand Isle and succumbs to the sea's final enchantment. The Awakening is the sad story of a Southern lady who wanted to do what she wanted to. Both author and heroine, Edna, had willfully pursued unwomanly ends. For most of the readers, this work, The Awakening, was an extraordinary achievement, something entirely new. Many readers were struck by the force of her subject matter, a psychological study, the development of the soul, and an awakening to the possibilities of life, the emancipation of the whole being from the trammels of conventionalism. This novel, The Awakening, travels beyond acceptable forms of discourse, as Chopin, the author, tries to find new ways of expressing the self within society, and freeing it from social and textual limits. Her unwomanly and unmentionable subject matter releases Edna, the protagonist from 19th century domestic plot that wrote women more firmly into home, marriage, motherhood, family, and femininity. Taking these facts into account, readers remain deeply divided on whether Edna walks out of domesticity into an alternative space or simply entangles herself in other equally confirming stories. This novel draws readers into the desire to interpret, to penetrate, and to solve Edna's mystery. Edna has been interpreted and reinterpreted through widely varying analytical senses as a privileged white lady known as Creole Bovary, a victim, a coward, a selfish narcissist, a prisoner, a rebel, and a romantic pioneer. On the other hand, the novel resists any single meaning. It is full of jolting discourses that never quite fuse, enacted within the narrative by the interrupted conversations. Unfinished stories, broken promises, half-read books, and jokes that fall flat. Chapters end on fading notes, with silences between or in casual remarks, strong with implication. This novel represents the theory that marriage is a heavy bond, cramping the capacities of the sex, appears in the most unexpected quarters held by women of ability and education, the loud cry for the development of individuality. The literature of the American South. Thanks for watching.